I think that I'm just going to double check with Brother Sean. This is my very first time to do live stream. He says we're all good, so that's excellent. My name is Judy. I live in the southern United States, and I'm the managing editor of online Church Without Walls called Hildergard Girls. I've also had a number of experiences intuitively with Hildergard, as has my circle. And Brother Sean was so kind to contact me and ask if I wouldn't share our story and the messages of Hildergard. So I'm going to do my best. I am a chatty Cathy. I've made an outline, so hopefully I'll stick to my own outline. But just to reiterate, I want to make sure I say this at the top of the time. If you want to find out more about Hildergard Girls, we are online. On Facebook, we have a Hildergard Girls page. There's also a Hildergard Girls Twitter account and a blog. It's called Hildergard Says Hello, and it's a WordPress blog. I've been awful about putting stuff on the WordPress blog, but there's a lot of good stuff that I'll even touch on today that's on the WordPress blog, as well as a PDF of the first 10 meditations that Hildergard sent to us from Spirit they're called the Calistrophy Meditations, and I think I called that Hildergard Speaks the Calistrophy Meditations for the PDF. So feel free to download that, look over the blog, our emails listed, all those places, and you're welcome to ask questions. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you ask me a question while we're doing this thing, I may not be able to respond because Brother Sean, he did train me, but I can't remember how to do that. I can read the messages below. If you ask me something and I don't respond during the live stream thing, happily, I'll maybe try to email or figure out later with Brother Sean how to respond to y'all. So we're in my house, and it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I live in Alabama, so I'm just telling you, it's bright sunshine. It's 100 degrees out. I know it's cold in other places, but I'm just kind of giving you a little background. I'm about to turn the computer, because what I'd like to do is offer a prayer. I'd like us to go into our right brain for a minute and to center a little together. I prepared an altar for us this morning. And, really, I'm going to chit-chat about all these experiences, but I think what I want to also say at the very top of this time that it's really not all about these stories. What Hildergard has sent to us is a gift for everybody, and the gift is that we are loved no matter what, and that we are called to go within and to heal. And not just to heal, but we're beautiful instruments that are meant to be played for the benefit of God. And we actually are called, almost like in a symphony, to bring about this wholeness in ourselves and allow this vibration, this beautiful song of vibration, to come through us. And something as wonderful is going to happen when enough people do this. Hildergard has said that it will bring about what she calls the calistrophy, which is a transformative vibrational tone that she says we'll remember. So that's really what this is about. It's about each of us deepening in God. It's not all about the chitty chat and all the other beings or whatever I'll tell you about. It's really about that. It's about the work. So with that said, I'm going to turn the computer and we'll take a look at the altar, and I'm going to read this prayer. And the first prayer I'm going to read is one of the prayers that we received from Hildergard in Spirit. It's a beauty. Excuse me. And but I want you to have a chance to look at the altar. Maybe we'll talk about that for just a second. So here we go. Okay, so there's the altar. I hope y'all can see it. Here's Hildergard. I want to point this out. This is a bromeliad, and the first time Hildergard came to us in our circle, she suggested several things, and I think it's great to maybe go ahead and I'm going to tilt this up a little, so maybe you can see a little bit centered better. The bromeliad, she said, to have one near you for your opening to Spirit and for your centering prayer, for your meditation time. This actually facilitates, she said, this plant, connection to spirit. So there's a number of different kinds of bromeliads, but I just wanted to invite you to know about that, and go ahead and get one and just stick it next to the place where you take time to pray. I also lit candles, and we really like to do that anytime we open to spirit, and it's just a reverence, and I know that y'all know that because I know Brother Sean had recommended I do that today. I've also put all sorts of special little things that I like, some fruit and some beautiful little earth kind of things here for her. And the Blessed Mother is here in 2 different places. When I experienced Hildergard at Sharp Cathedral, I also felt the presence of really what we might call Gaia Mother as well, and the Blessed Mother, all together. It was a very interesting experience, but I'll go into that more. So here we go. So here's the prayer. If everybody would, I'll just invite you to take a deep breath, let it out. Maybe do one more. Blessed Mother, Blessed Gaia, Father God, we open our hearts, our minds, our spirits to you in service and love. The seed of kindness, a Hildegard-inspired prayer. All hands rise to celebrate you when you act as heaven's agent of salvation here on earth. No matter how small or unseen the act may be, there is nothing more pure than acting out of compassion. For that light that pulls you toward godly acts is his seed of kindness, placed within you by his own hand. Never allow that voice to be muffled by the fears or wants that ride beside you in life. Break those shackles on a daily basis and remember who you are as an eternal soul and worker for God's will. Drink from your own cup of God's internal light so that you may spill out the light wherever you walk. Amen. I offer that as a prayer for peace for you, within you, and really for our world. Okay, I'm going to start like chitty-chatting with you. All right, so what to tell you? I've written out a bunch of things. I think the first thing that I want to tell you is that really no matter what I've experienced, I am a humble student of God, and I am a humble servant of God. That is what it's all about to me. Things have happened since I had a son, and that was in '91. Good and bad. But the good was that I started to have intuitive experiences. I did not talk to people about it except for this very first one. That was pretty neat. The very first time that I had a vision was probably around 94 or 95. I have been pretty much all my life a spiritual seeker. And church, when I was young, filled that need. But as I grew up, I just didn't feel a comfort, and I kept looking outward and outward. And so I had started meditating. I'd started studying and reading all sorts of things in my 20s, and was a pretty good meditator at that point. Had taken a nap, and during while I was sleeping, I had what was undoubtedly a vision, not a dream. And the difference for me about that was it was in like super HD. I wasn't in a dream. It was like I was in that place. And what I was seeing was streamers on the ceiling and confetti coming down. And within me, there was this excitement. There were a lot of people. was kind of a little dark in the room. But I kept saying within myself, I won. And I knew when I woke up what it was about. I had received an invitation to go to a party for a professional thing where you tasted food for a caterer, and he wanted you to come and do that, and then he was offering a prize where he would give a party for 50 people and a jazz band. Well, I wasn't going to go to it, but I made myself go to it. I'm a curmudgeon. I mean, I'm really a very extroverted person, but I never want to go anywhere. It's terrible. But anyway, I went to the party and I won. It was just crazy. I gave it to my church. It was for the 10th anniversary of my little Episcopal church, and it was awesome. It was just great. And to this day, people at the church talk about what a great time that party was. And it just felt like the best thing to do to give that away. So that was my very first thing. And then within the 90s, I did have this other kind of premonition. It was more of a dream, but it was very vision-y feeling. We were going to a party at a friend's house, and I had grown up with him and his sister. But I hadn't seen his sister since high school, so it had been years and years. And I had this vision that was so beautiful. It really felt like it was in heaven. It was just, the light was so beautiful, and all these women were gathered around a table in a garden. Everything was just glossy and beautiful. I can't even describe the effervescence kind of the light. But I knew while these women had gathered, they gathered in celebration because a baby was going to be born. And it was going to be born to Caroline. So that next day, we went to this football party, and I couldn't wait. I told my husband when I woke up, and I couldn't wait to tell her brother. And I pulled him aside, and I told him the story. He said, "Oh my gosh, my sister Caroline is here, and she just told us that she's going to have a baby. Her husband had problems with infertility, so they had to do all sorts of things. So it was like a miracle from heaven that she was going to have a baby." And so I'd had that premonition. So those were very interesting to me. But I'd really never explored them much more, or thought. What I'm saying is I thought of these things as isolated events. And I had a couple other little things that happened. But in 1999 is when I had a really profound experience. You know, and I'm almost tempted to read it to you, but I'll give you a little background before I do read it to you. I was invited to go to a retreat at the cathedral in Chartres, France, an hour outside of Paris. American organization formed in the 80s, early 90s called Veritas, and it was inspired by Hildergard to create a nonprofit. Actually, it was an extended ministry out of the Episcopal Cathedral out of San Francisco. It's called Grace Cathedral, beautiful. And Reverend Lauren Artress, was the inspiration behind the inspiration that led the creation of Veritas. So one of the things that they would do is and she's like a Jungian analyst. She's like a professional therapist. She would have all sorts of events happen in San Francisco, but then they started a relationship with the actual cathedral and the clergy there, and they had developed first once a year and then now twice a year, where they offer pilgrimages to the cathedral, and they are fabulous. You stay in the abbey, the residences there that they have, they're all renovated, beautiful cells, not elaborate, but nice. And the view of the cathedral at night will just blow your mind. But besides that, we had private walks on the labyrinth at least 2 times at night with candles around, and a violin and a cellist. I mean, it was like a trio that played for us. Oh, so beautiful. And then we had a couple different ceremonies, one in the crypt that's really a precious place. And I just can't say enough about it. It was extraordinary. But the way that they had arranged the week, we were educated about the whole concept of pilgrimage, and told to meditate and really prepare for the time that we were going to have together there. And I really did do that. And I'm glad that I did, because I really felt ready. Even when I landed in France, I felt something different in the air about to happen. It felt charged to me. It was really exciting. But when I got to Chartres, France, and started to spend time in that cathedral, I could not believe what I was experiencing just to be in that place. There is something really precious about that place, and I know that there are other places in the world that are truly energetic powerhouses for our intuitive, our intuition. I don't even know, there are words for it. I'm failing to come to the words, but what I then experienced, I do hold part in tribute to the boost, like literally the super boost of energy that I was able, it was able to propel and probably raise my vibration to be able to have this experience. So here's what happened to me. While in meditation, I'm going to read it. It'll just help me. While in meditation and prayer to the Blessed Virgin, there's this beautiful, I don't know what I would call it, but I'm not Catholic. That's the only thing I have to say to you. I'm not Catholic. I really had no relationship with Mary, or I just didn't. And actually my week there was about Mary, so that was really helpful. But I just hadn't really thought about it. That's the truth. So, but I'm in meditation, and I'm in front of this, beautiful alcovey area that's all about her. And it's really kind of like a Black Madonna, but I don't think it really was. It's supposed to be the Blessed Mother and the Child. And it's very ornate, it's gorgeous. And I'm just in deep meditation. It was an awesome time to be in there. It wasn't a busy time at the cathedral, so it wasn't packed with people. And I was really deep in my meditation, and this is the key point I want to make. I offered myself to God in service. I openly offered myself in service to God. Now, I hope that would happen, I'm telling you. I didn't expect what happened to happen. So, be careful what you wish for. I felt this huge whoosh into me. I was sharing space with the presence. And what I could tell you after spending time with the presence is that probably wasn't one presence. It was like there were 3 personalities to this presence, but they were all deeply feminine, completely full of love. The experience of it was so precious and so reverent immediately that all I could do was thank this presence for this opportunity to be in the presence of the presence. And I knew intuitively that this was an opportunity for me to serve God. So something was about to occur, and I didn't know what it was, but it was. So the other thing I want to tell you, and I'll read you more, because you hear how I do. I'm just chatty Cathy. I felt a beautiful presence around me, and I was filled with this presence. There were no words, only impressions and emotions. The presence was so full of love, so ancient, so full of vitality, joy, wonder, passion, playfulness, humor. It was unlike anything I have ever known. I could feel this presence with me and in me for several days. And I'm going to stop because what I wrote is good, but what I want to stress here and what I know now is I was experiencing real channeling. This is real physical, from a spiritual standpoint, this was real physical mediumship. And I would, from my teachers, this is not something everybody wants to do. This is not a real safe thing to do, but in the presence of who I was with and who I was under the care of, all good. So these presences filled me. And what was so distinctly different about it, from just a feeling or a vision or whatever, was that I was looking out of almost like a mask, their eyes. When I was deeply in this state with them, which was, I guess, more of a trance state, I was looking out of their eyes. But I'm not just sitting there in front of the Blessed Mother. I'm now walking around. I'm outside of the cathedral. I'm back in my room. I'm in class. I'm hearing myself be this pushy missus telling people what I thought in class. That's not normally me, although, again, I am a chatty Cathy. When I would go to dinner and I would sip the wine or I'd eat food, it was like, it was like, it was like all of us were enjoying the meal more than anything. It was like a group celebration of every taste and sip. It was extraordinary. Okay, so let's see what else I wrote here. Whatever was happening to me and through me was not to interfere with others in the pilgrimage. And that's true. I didn't talk to people about what was happening to me at all. In fact, I didn't talk about this for years and years and years because I didn't know what to say. And I was afraid people would think I was possessed or something, quite honestly. I did have an inner dialogue about the experience, which went something like this. I was filled with joy and reverence for the presence who I referred to as the lady. I didn't know what else to call her, but I felt like that was good. That felt good, and it felt good to have that back from them. So I was humbled to be chosen to serve as a vessel for whatever message or task was needed. I was the presence of great good and love. I was humbled, excited, curious, and so happy. I really felt strongly it was not about me. I was a vessel, and I was serving God in some capacity. This presence chose me to serve a purpose for others another. I didn't understand how or what or why. I felt at the time that I not expect that this same experience would happen again. It almost seemed greedy to expect it. And to be honest, I've never had that type of experience. Different experiences, but nothing like that. And I do have a secret hope that if I travel back to Chartres and spend some time there in meditation, that I might have the experience again. And I'm super, super curious to know if I was to travel to some of these other really powerful, energetic, sacred places in the world, what kind of experiences I might have those too. And I just tell everybody, go for it. Really fun to see what everybody has an experience about. Okay, here are a couple other little observations about it. The presence was, there were three personalities. I now know, I'll just tell you, one of them was Hildergard. I know that one of them was the Blessed Mother. The other was another being that I think that we would see her as the Black Madonna, the goddess, Isis, the Shekinah. She showed me when I focused, it was like I focused my attention in on her for the briefest of moments. And what she showed me was a little overwhelming, to be honest. She showed me this vast space. It was like a tunnel of darkness that went down, but this was nothing benevolent. It was all good. It was full of love, lovingness, and support. But what I felt about her was that she was beyond time. And although she had this great, she adores the earth, everything about it, she was also beyond the earth. So she was older than the earth. Let's put it that way. I think that would be a good way to put it. She reveled in all of earth's bounty and beauty. Benevolent and full of love and joy would best describe this spiritual being. And the thing is, as I've reflected on that experience, what I've come to think about it is, just like if you've ever experienced when a medium brings spirit through, like people that have passed, you'll have a medium say, I have a mother energy. It feels like a grandmother. But what you have too, what'll happen with spirit when it comes in like that and a medium is receiving that, is, well, you could have a group of people that are actually kind of all together that have come in on almost like a vibration. And so what I have come to reflect on is that Hildergard and Blessed and Mother Mary and the Great Mother were all like facets of a gem. They all ride the same vibration. They all came to say hey. And they all came to bless at least one of these precious nuns that was on this retreat. That I know. And I actually think I might have said like something to in another language to this sweet elderly nun. But I can't tell you what it is because I really don't know. It was like I was so deep at that moment that I couldn't tell you. All right, I'm just looking. I have already chatted to you for 25 minutes. So Brother Sean said, go for it. We'll see how long I go for it. I really don't want to wear y'all out. Let's see. The Hildergard energy, I got to tell you, she's no shy flower. She wasn't a 99. She speaks her mind. She had a lot to say. And that was her speaking through me in class. There was no doubt in my mind. And she's so passionate. And when I could go on, there's more about this. I don't know if Brother Sean's going to post. I actually did this as a document. If he wants, he can post it. I could post it too, like on our blog or something. But I think one of the most important things, besides the fact that it was so precious to be filled with this presence, that what happened to me after the retreat was I had a lot of horrible things happen in life, and this I think was a gift. It was almost like being in the eye of a hurricane, because there were some bad things happening before that, and then I was in the eye, and I think it gave me just something to hang on to for the next few years. But this is what I want to say. But from a spiritual standpoint, it was also really hard, because I had a very difficult time back in church after this. It felt physically painful to me to not acknowledge God as both my mother and my father. And it's still painful to me. I feel it's very important to be one of the people on earth who speak of as God as my Gaia, my mother. I apologize. I have a little something going on, so I may cough some. But it's been one of the things that I've now studied for almost 20 years, just trying to understand the sacred feminine, and I would say some of the mythology, and the understanding even about our consciousness and how it's moved from the lunar era to the solar era that we're in now, and we are in the process of birthing this next era. And I think that we're all in agreement that in some way, shape, or form, we are part of that. And the Hildergard girls' work is a little piece of that. It's not the answer. There aren't just the answers. There's just things that are helping us, being offered by Spirit to help us to go within and to become whole in ourselves, so that we can then be these complete instruments that open and send this beautiful, loving vibration up as a net of light around the world, as a beacon or portal to bring the heavens closer here. We're just a part of something much, much greater. It's really hard to have the big picture about it. Okay, so enough about that experience. So the next big experience came in 2010, really in 2009. In 2009, I have a girlfriend who I've known half my life. We were social friends, and we would get together and we would always talk about spiritual things, but we may not have told everything that we had going on with people. And before I tell you that story, I'll just tell you that happens a lot now. So when I'll stop and talk to people and I'll open to them and tell them just a little, it will break the ice, and I will start to hear story after story after story of experiences where people have had opened and dreamt and seen angels. They've had visions, all sorts of things. And so that's, I think, part of the work too, is to, in the right setting, make invitation to people to start honoring this aspect of themselves. Okay, so anyway, so my girlfriend comes to me, and she allowed me to know that she had been an intuitive person, had seen people that had passed. She might wake up in the middle of the night and see someone standing at the side of her bed that she knew was not alive, that had passed. And as a child, it had really upset her and frightened her, and she had prayed that it would stop. And it did. So as she went through adulthood, she was a very busy lady, very career-oriented, like several children, just very busy. You know, we all get busy. But she had two things happen in her life. A premonition about the death of her brother, and then an urgent message from Spirit one day to say to her son, if somebody approaches him at school and she doesn't feel comfortable, to seek help. And she not only heard this, but then she actually felt pushed from behind, and it was said again. And she didn't want to embarrass her son, who was in the back seat with a friend of his, but she was urged that no matter what she just had. So she had this little chat with her son. And about a week later, she and her husband both were out of town in business. They had a nanny that was caring for their son, who was in elementary school. Supposed to pick him up at a certain time. He's waiting outside of school. A man in a security uniform approaches him and tells him that a puppy's lost or something, and he wants him to help him find it. And the boy knew immediately something. He just felt in his bones that something wasn't right, and he remembered what his mom had said. He took off running, and he was able to hide, I think, in a pile of leaves, and the man was not able to find him. They later found this man, found out that he had bought a security guard's uniform. He didn't work at the school. He was a known pedophile, and they believe had murdered children. And he had gone to buy this uniform to look like a security guard from that school. So after that happened, my friend Amy, she really, those two things, between the loss, her brother passed, and she didn't know what to do with that information. I think she felt very upset about it. But both of those things led her to reassess. And in that time of reassessment, she was led to go and study with professional mediums in a community here in the United States called Lilydale, which is the highest concentration of professional mediums and spiritualists in the United States. Spiritualism formed around the idea, and the philosophy, it formed as both a philosophy and a religion, that there was life after death. And so she was actually given by her daughter, like as a birthday present, a gift to go up there. In their summertime, they have lectures. And so she went and heard a lecture, and she came back, and she really felt a yearning and reached out to me and another friend who I did not know, to come together so she could practice some of the things that she'd learned. And I asked her later why she called me, and her friend asked her the same thing, and she just really felt called that we were the two that she wanted to do this with, which I was honored with, and I was excited to spend time with her. But honestly, at this point, I had no idea what a medium was, and I had no idea what spiritualism was, or if I wanted to be involved with any such thing. And I certainly didn't see myself as somebody who had anything to do with it, or any of those things that happened to me, that they had anything to do with what I was coming to do with Amy. So I'm a little slow. But we got together, and we would practice these things, and they were really interesting. And we really did connect with Spirit, and that was a big aha. And she was a wonderful encourager too, just opened my mind to the possibility of these things. And the same for our friend Cheryl. I mean, it was really so interesting. And we felt very childlike and naive, but lovingly protected in the process of this. We would get together maybe once a month, maybe every 3 weeks if we could pull it off. And so that started like in the fall of 2009. So and it was in the March of 2010. It was actually the 26th of March. We had decided to gather at my house, and I'll read to you what happened to us, but it's all about Hildergard. And if you don't know about Hildergard, I'll just encourage you to go online and read about her. She's this amazing woman who was a Christian nun, mystic, shaman, healer, musician, composer, not so much musician, probably as composer, possibly artist, but certainly, and foremost, she was a psychic medium. She was a gifted seer and healer from the moment she hit the earth. And her family knew that, and they knew that she would need a special place to be safe and cared for. So as a child, she was taken, I'm just giving the highlights. As a child, she was taken to a monastery in Germany. She's a German. She was born in the 11-somethings. I'm just guessing. I can't remember her birthday because I'm terrible about that. So the 12th century, which was a good time, about as good time as you could probably be a girl, and with kind of there's a little bit of open-mindedness at that point. And she began to study and to learn, and it wasn't until quite later in her life that she kind of came out and started to share these visions that she had. But really from the time of about 40 years on, and I want to say she lived maybe to her 80s. I can't remember that part. The things she accomplished were just mind-boggling. There's so much. Things about diet and healing, plants, as I said, music. She created her own language, a heavenly language that she was really angelic language that she received from Spirit. That actually, we got this part from Spirit. Like when you hear her word would have multiple layers on it, almost like a DVD. It might have audio and video, but it had like multiple vibrational meanings that were to be transmuted through this word. That was the intention of the language. All right, so anyway, I'll read this experience. And again, we've been at this 37 minutes, so we might go an hour. I apologize if that's too long for people. Our first encounter with Hildergard happened on Friday in March. We met at my house. We started with a prayer. And almost immediately we felt a presence right behind the sofa. If we were downstairs, I'd show you the spot. Maybe I'll be able to use the downstairs and I'll show you the spot. I did not hear this. It was both Amy and Cheryl that heard this the first time. One said, and it was almost comical, one said, "There's somebody here." Oh, and they're both like pointing, and they said, "Hildy," and then the other one said, "Garden," and I was like sat straight up because I'd read about Hildergard. I sat straight up and I said, Hildergard Bingen? And I know Father Sean says Bingen. I don't know which way it is. I call her Hildergard or Bingen. And the girls really didn't know about Hildergard. I don't think they'd read. Maybe Cheryl had read a little bit, but I know Amy did not know who that was. They both commented that the presence was there for me and was joyful to be back with me. My sense that she was glad to see all of us, actually. I told them a little bit about Hildergard. Amy could see Hildergard dressed in a strange hat. And I'm going to show you the picture of it. That was a very distinctive little thing. I got to get it in the picture. Can you see? This is a picture of Hildergard and that crazy hat. She made sure to show us that because it was maybe distinctive to her order or the time. I really don't know. But that was confirmation, amongst other things. That was confirmation for us about it. So let's see. She came to us and immediately announced her desire to teach us. She wanted to work with the three of us. She expressed her desire to work with us to share her message for the world. More was fine, but the three of us had a special bond, and we fit together like energy fit together in a special way. So I think that's an important thing, interesting to me, because we are all like energetic snowflakes, and somehow, like when we come together, we do fit like little puzzle pieces, and we have an ability to maybe make special things happen. So tick that away. I think that's a really cool thing. She showed us a flower, which she drew, the bromeliad. Let's look at that again. There it is. And what'd she say? She said, I ran upstairs and I got one. I put it on the center table. She said that bromeliads enhance energy. So there you go. She told us, and I was going to go into that. Maybe we'll go into that today. She told us, she gave us an exercise. She said to focus energy of the chakras through the third eye to connect with the universe. We'll go back to that one. Then she said, interiors are being built. I don't know what that means. You know, some things she said, a lot of things to us, we're like, well, hopefully we'll figure that out later. The next thing that happened was very interesting. Both Amy and Cheryl, there was three of us, and it was Cheryl first who received this. She kept feeling like she was trying to say something in another language. And phonetically, she said two words, which Amy wrote down, and then grabbed the computer and tried to look those up. And what she found that they said, they were German words, and they meant second skin, and second home. Sacred skin, a second skin and second home. I believe that's right. And she was referring to me. And it went back to that time in Charlotte. I have some connection to her. Maybe it's past life. But she likes me. That's just no other way to put it. She thinks I'm kind of neat. I'm not the only person on earth she thinks is neat. Just know that. We are not the only people on earth she works with. She works with lots of people. So if you think you're working with her, you are. In fact, she told us back right in this first session, she made a point to tell us, to tell you, that if you're one of those people, she thanks you with all her heart, and that she is so graced and grateful, and that she blesses each one of you for keeping her work alive. So that's a blessing to you, through me, to you, from our group, if you have done work with Hildergard and in her name. She's sending blessings to you. And that's pretty nice. Give blessings to all who have kept her work alive. That's her direct quote. All right. We've already gone 45 minutes, but I'm going to leave you first with this exercise, because it's nice to do things where you go within and we're not just chatting. I mean, 45 minutes is a lot, so we'll still have to go probably like another 5 or 10 minutes. I am going to offer you one more prayer. But before that, I want to talk to you about when she said to us about balancing your chakras. I thought that was a profound thing, and I do this. So what I do when I meditate, before I begin my meditation, and meditation, that was a given. She wants us to meditate. So get your bromeliad, get a candle, get a journal, get a set of bromeliad, get that. And I like to do what I call my gimme prayers. Help me with this, help me with that. And that's really Anne Lamott. She came up with gimme prayer. She's a writer, a Christian writer here in the United States. She's really funny. It's really fun to read her stuff. But she calls that gimme prayers. And I think that's good. Just get that off the table, put that over there. I like to pray for people who are sick or who have passed or whatever. And so that's like the next list I like to do. But then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare for my meditation, and that's to do the chakra balancing. And what Hildergard described to us is this. You have the chakras. I'm not going to go into those. You look those up. But we have, 7 or 8 centers. The root, they go up. Red, orange, yellow, green your heart center. Kind of a violety blue here, your throat chakra. These are actually multidimensional centers. So there's more than this. I know that. But this is the big ones. And you want to go off into the others and do it. Because you can do it with this exercise. But then you come up and you've basically got the dark blue, the third eye. Then you've got the crown. You've got the white. Have I got them all? I think that's right. So you've got, this one. You actually have ones here. The crown ones are kind of all over here. Then there's that other one right up here. It's either white or yellow or something like that. And then I always like to cast, I ask Blessed Mother to cast a white light of love and protection and only send my highest guides and teachers to me. Even in my meditation, I like to do that. It's just part of my ritual now. But so, as you do the chakra thing, you're going to do it first to balance the energies in your own body. And so let's just take the red one. For instance, you're going to draw the energy up through the earth into your red chakra. You're going to hold it. In other words, hold your breath. Let it out so that you're balancing that within your own body. On the next breath, you're going to draw up the energy from the earth. You're going to hold it. But this time, you're going to balance it with the universe. You're going to send it up. So all of those bottom ones, it's kind of easy to understand this part. You're going to draw it up. It's coming kind of from the root part and send them up. When you get to the green, as you do it for yourself first, you're balancing in yourself. As you draw the in to do for the universe, you're going to draw it in, hold it, and you're going to picture it in your mind as going out like this, out, 360 degrees out to the whole earth. Imagine your love energy from your heart expanding out and literally going over the whole skin of the earth. Imagine that. So that's when I kind of get to this one, I actually am not drawing up, I'm drawing down. So I start to really focus all that energy, drawing from the heavens into my heart chakra, doing that. Drawing from the third eye into my throat chakra and sending it up. I actually send them kind of up and out when it comes to those for the universe. Do what feels right for you, for your body. Because you want to first balance in your body, second balance to the universe. And then you're ready to sit in meditation. All right, so I'm going to not talk that much more. I'm going to turn the computer back to the altar. We're going to take a couple more deep breaths. I'm going to offer you another final prayer from Hildergard. This is another one we received from Spirit. It's called the Divine Gardener. And after that, I'm going to leave you all this in spirit and encourage you to go online and find our blog, Hildergard Says Hello, Hildergard Girls on Facebook, Hildergard Girls on Twitter. If you like this, please let Brother Sean know. I would be happy to talk more about this maybe once a month if you feel like what I'm talking about is helpful. And I really do offer this information, which I'm learning about and will learn about the rest of my life, quite honestly. Just because you receive a message doesn't mean you know the message. We spend our lifetime contemplating and deepening in it. It's just for our own healing and growth. That's how I feel about it. So with all that said, I'm going to read this prayer for you. and then I'm going to wish you goodbye. So here we go. You want to take a deep breath and let it out. Draw up one more. Deep breath. Let it out. Divine Gardener, treat my soul as the flower that it is. Nourish me from root to smallest petal. Let my beauty bring those around to look in awe at your handiwork, for your construction rivals no other. Your unerring hand brings the thought of what I can be into its most useful and lovely form. Only you lead me from seed to fruit. When I'm no longer bound to the earth, your guiding light takes my fallen petals and creates the next seed, the next flower that brings others to their grandeur. Amen. I leave you that with blessings. Until next time. Bye-bye.